something about the word celebrity chef it doesn't really sit well with me. I don't know what. I think somewhere, somehow, I got somewhat of like an imposter syndrome. And I feel like saying it out loud just feels so weird and uncomfortable. Like I will never say like I'm a celebrity chef. I was labeled a celebrity chef at a very young age. I was 21. And of course, I've also had people that I've known in the culinary industry, in the restaurant industry and stuff, who sort of like, kind of like, why are you calling yourself a chef? People tend to nitpick. The more you're out there, the more they tend to nitpick. And I just don't really pay much attention. Being a woman also in this industry, like people question. But I've been questioned a lot of things. Not only question, like people have given their opinions of me and of what I do, like in various stages of my career. From the very beginning, I was told that.
Why, hello there, food lovers, and welcome to The Hungry Immigrant, the place where flavors cross borders and cultures unite. I'm your host, Abang Brian, coming to you with stories, secrets, and the irresistible charm of Asian cuisine and heritage. Each week, we'll journey into the heart of what makes food more than just a meal. We'll talk to chefs, celebrities, home cooks, and food enthusiasts who have brought their heritage to our tables. From the bustling streets of Kuala Lumpur to the vibrant markets of Manila and Seoul to the Chinatowns of New York, Paris, and Toronto, we're exploring the magic of food that connects us all. So join us as we delve into the rich tapestry of Asian food culture and heritage, celebrating the traditions and innovations that make our culinary world so diverse and exciting. Now, get ready as today's episode promises to be a flavorful journey.
It's hard to sell her because she's not Malay enough.
So this is actually very interesting that you brought up this function because I think this also tells a lot about our country and our community, right? There's one term in the Malay ethnic group which is called Perempuan Melayu Terakhir. There is this, which Perempuan Melayu Terakhir is like the last Malay lady, good Malay girl. And there's some sort of characteristic that you should conform to. And I feel you. I've never noticed about you because I've always thought that you really are, to me, that's why I said the one way I introduce you is that you don't conform, right? Which is your selling point. It's part of who you are, right? And I felt the same way that you did because I never knew that men had it easier because I never had it easier because I was never Malay enough. So I'm one of the only Chinese boys in the Malay industry. I was born in the Malay industry. So to give this context to people who are listening from all around the world, Malaysia is made out of three main ethnic groups, the Malay, Chinese, and Indian, majority being Malay. And so the Malay entertainment industry is the biggest amongst the three races, right? I understand where you're coming from because I was never Malay enough. I talked very Malay with a Malay accent, but it doesn't match my face. And I think when I did radio, that's the reason why I did radio. Because people would call us and ask for DJ Ibrahim. And I was like, who is DJ Ibrahim? You! And I was like, no, because I would go like, oh, you're with Brian. So it sounds like Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Right? So which they thought that this voice must be a Malay person. And so the closest name is Ibrahim. So I would always get calls, where's DJ Ibrahim?
Wow.
That's me. Do you think that it's still like that?
I don't think it's still like that for me. At least, I think people have kind of see my credibilities and that they no longer nitpick so much. But this was but also I haven't done a lot of TVs as of late.
Yeah.
And this was like when, I just started doing TV. Personally, people are starting to see me like in a different way.
Yeah.
Also like depends. Like I said, before this, I don't really put a lot out there. Like, my online presence were just like personal stuff. So people only see me and what I do, my skills or whatever, just based on the TV shows that, that's aired on TV. And I have no control over how things are being edited, you know. Half of the time, it's like, I mean, in a TV show, in a 21-minute slot, you get 3 recipes and then there's a guest. And obviously, like, they want to show the fun part of the show. And sometimes the recipes are being cut short. So people don't really see the skills or the knowledge that I have probably shared on screen. But when I started doing online stuff, people started seeing it, and then they realized that, oh, you know what, she's a chef. I started showing a bit more of my skills. I'm very happy, like where I am right now. I'm very happy because I feel like I'm also connected to the chef in the, you know, restaurant industry. Like I make it a point, and I love it when they reach out as well, because, you know, it's something that to me, that's very personal, because that's where I started. Like I really enjoyed working in the kitchen, not because of anything else, because I don't carry the stress home. Like I do what I love. I'm cooking the whole time, like for hours and hours on my feet. It's very tiring, but I'm doing what I love. You know, I don't go home thinking about like, oh, you know, there's very little work stress, very, very little, to me at least, you know. And I remember just like, because I worked in a hotel, and I was just very close to all of the head of departments, and I keep saying like, you know, sometimes I don't want to take my break, so I'll just go in the pastry kitchen and I'll get the master baker to teach me how to make croissant. I mean, it's nothing to do with me, but I'm like, I'll help you. Just teach me. Let me just help you, you know, that kind of thing. So to me, that was a very, very enjoyable experience, a very enjoyable year for me. And then now there's a lot more, you know, my work, it's more than just cooking on screen, as, you know, being ambassadors for brands, working with brands, and, you know, being that creative side, which is very different.
But where does this creative side come from? Like, how do you grow up? Like, were you always surrounded by food?
I come from a big family.
You have Pakistani, right?
And a daughter, just a bit. So my mom is half Pakistani.
Right.
My mom is one of 16, and my dad is one of 8. So my mom is one of 16, but she grew up with her foster parents, who were also her auntie and uncle. So I grew up with those grandparents. So basically my grandfather, my real grandfather, my maternal grandfather is Pakistani, but her mother raised my real grandmother and my foster grandmother and my foster grandfather.
Right.
My foster grandfather is also Pakistani, but my real grandmother is Malay. My foster grandmother is Chinese, who was brought up by Malay. So there's a mix.
Yep.
Because all of them grew up with the Pakistani my great grandmother, who's Pakistani, right? My grandfather's mother. So she taught all of them how to cook. So all of them kind of grew up with like this whole, like Penang food, but very mama scented, like Indian, yet with a bit of Malay influence in it. So that kind of like went into our family.
Did you
Very
grow up
different.
with all this like mama
Yes.
food? Or...
Yes. I wouldn't say mama, because it's not real mama. It's more like Pakistani, but Malay-ish Pakistani. So like the curries were different. But then, because my foster grandfather was in the Navy, so he was moving places. So he lived in Kelantan with my mom for a bit, and my grandmother, and Kelantan, Johor, because he was posted at different places. So there was those influence as well, because my foster grandmother lived with us. So my mom and I learned how to cook from her. So there was like a bit of Pakistani, a bit of Malay, like Malay from Johor, Malay from Kelantan. So there was all these different influences in the kitchen growing up. So if you ask me, like, I wouldn't say like, you know, like this is the traditional way. Like whenever I share my recipes, it is my version of it, the version that I grew up with. And it's not because I don't know how to cook traditional Malay food. I have done 3 or 4 TV shows where I had to go into all the different states in Malaysia, every state. And one of the shows, I actually lived in the kampong for like 2 weeks in every kampong and learned how to cook from the tukang masak kampong, or the village cook, the village chef. I did shows where I learned recipes, traditional recipes from the palace chefs. From every, so I know how to cook traditional food. I mean, you know, I can cook things that people don't even know of. You know what I mean? There's so many things in Malaysia that a lot of people who don't come from those states are not aware of. But it's not.
Give us an example.
Urap umbut kelapa. It's not something that is very common, you know.
So urap umbut kelapa is like the center of the
Coconut. So it's basically heart of palm.
Yeah.
Okay. That it's coconut palm. Urap is like worm salad.
The warm salad?
Yeah. Kerabu is like cold salad. So urap is something that they cook. Masala mak daun kayu.
Oh, wow.
Which is like consists of like up to 16 different types of ulam that people are not familiar with because you have to forage for it. So all these things, you know, I have the knowledge of, but I don't share it online, like on my personal platform, because that doesn't reflect me. Like I do that, I share those on TV shows that is off the concept that's, you know, showcasing like traditional.
I'm so disappointed in this because like,
why are you disappointed?
you should do this. Like this is what's missing from our industry, and like,
I mean, yeah, but I think it's not on my platform because you know what I mean.
So you say it doesn't reflect you. So who are you? What kind of food?
I love my curries. The curries that I make are different. Those are the things that I learned from my late grandmother, my late grandfather.
Okay, how are your curries different? Because like, this is the reason why I want this show. Because sometimes when I travel the world, people go like, curry is curry. And I'm like, dude, curry is not curry. So what's the difference with your curry?
Okay, so traditionally I was taught how to make curry using fresh spices.
Right.
My late grandmother would, you know, use the batu giling, which is like a type of mortar and pestle. It's shape of what do you call it? Like a rolling pin, like a.
Oh, that is a good way. Yeah.
Right.
To describe it.
I do love doing like local food, like Malay food, but sometimes I feel like people can be a little bit not nice lah, you know, and they say, oh, this shouldn't be like that. I mean, cooking is, if I don't say this is the traditional way of, you know, making this, then I don't think you should say anything about my version of it, you know. And of course, food, it changes, right? The time changed traditional food. The location changes traditional food. The accessibility changes traditional food. And who are we to, I mean, of course, we need to preserve what is traditional, and we should establish it as that. You know, this is how this is made traditionally. But you can also have this version of the same dish from different places.
I need to tell the world this. And I feel that whatever you feel is valid. This is something that I've always heard, like, people talking about you, like, say, like, oh, she's cooking it not the traditional way. I've heard this said about you.
I know, okay.
And I think the problem, and I think what people are actually saying is also guided by the fact of what they see, that you're not a traditional Malay girl.
Yeah.
I think they're saying more on that.
Maybe.
And they're picking on that.
Yeah.
And masking it through the food. Because the truth is, I agree totally with you in the sense that whatever is authentic to me is authentic to me.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever is traditional to me is traditional to me. Because you may live in the same village, in the same county or the same, you know, but from one house to another, it might be different. Because, like, for example, you have so many different influences from your heritage, right? So that is your heritage, right? So who are they to say that it's the wrong way? I hate it when people say it's wrong. I mean, like, there are certain ways to do certain things, but I think that's the prescribed way.
Like I said, obviously I know how to make traditional food. I've done many TV shows on that for many years. But what, like I said, my platform is for me to share what I love, what I have, my version of things. I feel like we need to have that respect. We need to preserve our traditional food.
Yeah.
But we also have to have the respect of allowing people to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I never said, oh, follow my way.
Yeah.
Do it however you want, but this is how I love it, and this is what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
And it's, it's up to you. You like it, you take it. You don't like it, you don't take it. And that's something that I've observed as well. Like, I feel like sometimes people, when they see like an international chef being like non-Malaysian, maybe Caucasian chefs who are cooking a version of like Malaysian food, the moment they just put Malaysian, the whole Malaysia will go like, this chef is cooking Malaysian food, like, let's celebrate. But then, the local chefs are not getting the same love and support. You guys are very critical of the local chefs. I feel like it doesn't make sense that you are celebrating because you feel like your food is out there. Oh, Malaysian food is out there because a Caucasian chef is cooking it. Instead of or supporting your local people to bring the food out there. Even our food, like the food that we are enjoying every day, not the food that are in specialized shop, like in the kampong or anything, not like really traditional food. The food that we consume every day, that is far from our traditional food. But we don't ask the tukang masak, we don't ask the chef at the back or the cook at the back, like, oh, did you do this how my mother did it? Like, did you put onion in this? We won't. We'll just pay 10 ringgit and just get on with our lives.
But do you think that if we continue doing this, innovating traditional recipes, that, it will one day be gone? No. Do you think there's a necessity of preserving our tradition?
Absolutely. And that's where people like you, educators come in. And I think there's also some sort of like level of disconnect. It's like when you want to look for it, you have to go around in the kampong, talk to the the cooks of the village chef or village cooks. Or you have to talk to these people in order for you to get the real authentic recipes or authentic food or like the knowledge of it. You need to go out and find it. Okay, there are books written on it, but not everything is accessible. A lot of people love to keep their recipes as well. So that all of these are already limiting the accessibility for these recipes and knowledge. Like and think about it, Malaysia is made of 14 states, right? And every state have got different traditional food that is influenced by different things. And in not just, I wouldn't even just say state, even in the same state, different parts of the state have got different take on the traditional feeding. So it is important for us to find these things and preserve them. It's a lot of work. I think the efforts are done, but in different sectors.
Right.
Like maybe when the education, like people who are involved in education, right? They do it, but they preserve it just that. So you can still find these things.
Disjointed.
Yeah, but that's the word, disjointed. And so you can find papers written on it. But it is written, the purpose of it being written is for education.
Correct.
And it like a report, for instance. So it is not accessible to the public. It's not like a recipe book. There are traditional recipe books, but again, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's also like the traditional recipe books are also the author's take on traditional recipes.
If there are takers, right? If there's a willing buyer, there's definitely a product, right? I feel that there's not enough being give it to our traditional food.
I think a lot of people think they know
But
what our traditional food are. Say your mom is from a kampung in, say, Terengganu, and you learn how to cook from your mom, who learned from the grandmother, and you think you know.
Yeah.
But that's you learning traditional food from your household.
Correct.
What I'm saying is there's a lot more. So a lot of people, their idea, in my opinion, the idea of a traditional food is what they have at home or in their kampung. That is what traditional food means. It is like we already know. I already know. I balik kampung. Like I go back to my village, and I have it there. So that's their take on it. But what I'm saying is there's traditional food. There's traditional food that's disappearing. There's so many subcategories in this that we do not have enough knowledge of. We do not have access to those knowledge.
I think not enough emphasis is put on this traditional side of our food.
Yeah.
I feel that, because you think about what's out there, kan?
Yeah.
It's like everything that is like viral now,
Yeah.
it's not traditional.
No.
Do you think the media has a role to play here?
Well, I think everyone has role to play. Because I think we need to change how we look at things. Like I said, a lot of people believe that they know the traditional food in Malaysia because they eat local food every day. So in their minds, maybe this is traditional. Before that, I want to speak about the author,
Yeah, Keow
Johari. He wrote the book, The Food of Singapore Malays. But the book is amazing. It's very detailed. There's explanation on ingredients to like traditional tools. I love it. And I think it'd be amazing if we have one for every state, something like that. But it takes a long time, a lot of research, but it's doable. It's definitely doable. It's, finding the people who are willing to commit. So people need to change their perception of what traditional food is. Because right now, like I said, people think that they know what it is. Okay, I have a very interesting story that, to be honest, it was driving me a little crazy for a bit. When I share something that I say traditional, there's a lot of thought and research that was done.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody, I have too much pride for me to go in front of camera and just say things I don't know. I need to do an extensive amount of research before I say it. So I did Char Keoy Teow. Like my late brother used to sell it. And he used to ask people like in the Chinese uncle in Penang, like how it's done, But obviously we know the traditional one is, has lard and has lap chong sometimes and cook on a kayu api or
Charcoal, like charcoal and where.
and the type of wok. I know all of this, okay? So before I shared, I said, I don't have a traditional wok, and so I'm just going to do this the way it's done at home, and this is my version of Char Keoy Teow. Then I did it, and then the amount of people, Malays, who attacked me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, they call me stupid because the traditional Char Keoy Teow is wet. It has gravy. They're like, where's the gravy? Where's the kuah? How is the kuah? Like calling me stupid. And I'm like literally, Char Keoy Teow means fried kway teow. And they keep telling me, it's kway teow goreng, you bodoh. Char Keoy Teow, it's basah, berkuah. And the amount of confidence they have is wow. But yeah, so that's the thing. Because you think you know what traditional food is because you eat it. Because every day you have it at home, you have it at the shop, nearby your house, you have it in your kampung. So you assume that is the traditional food.
Yeah.
And you limit yourself. Like you don't even bother. All you need to do is just search on Google. That's it.
Yeah. When it comes to food, there is the origin the originality of food, but there are also modifications.
Of
And
course.
like, I think if they didn't come out and call you out on it, like for me, Char Keoy Teow, the translation of Char Keoy Teow means fried. Kway Teow is flat rice noodles, right?
Yeah.
And it is, you've got to have the wok hei, which
Yeah.
is the fire, the taste of the fire,
I
call it.
That's what I said.
But of course, like there is also the Malay variation of this, which has a little bit more of a gravy, and it's like almost like a latna kind of
Yes.
situation going on, right? Which I don't think it's wrong, but like
No,
I think
okay.
don't call out someone.
First, the people who started that shouldn't call it Char Keoy Teow.
Yeah, it's
For they should say Malayu Char Keoy Teow.
Yeah.
And other people should educate themselves. Like, I don't blame them because, they don't eat all
No,
these
Vero.
place. They don't eat at Chinese stores. So therefore, they are limited.
Yeah.
And then when they only eat at the Malay stores, they see, oh, okay, Char Keoy Teow is when they serve wet. And Kway Teow Goreng is when it's dry. So that's, in their mind, it's that. But like I said, knowledge is out there.
Yeah.
We live in 2024. Before you become a keyboard warrior, all you need to do is just put it on Google. Therefore, you don't have to unnecessarily call other people stupid.
No.
But that's the thing. Okay, that's why where education is very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay, because if we also, people like us who are in the media, who are teaching people about food, and if we do not bring these things like, oh, this is what traditional is, and blah, 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 who's going to do that? How is the knowledge going to be, So, yeah, I think there's that disconnect.
Yeah.
Okay. Half of the time, I find it hilarious because you know why? Because I know that in the end, it goes back to this. Why are we like this? Why we can, call people stupid and all of that? Because in the end, we are very passionate about food.
Yeah.
That's Malaysia. Like I noticed maybe three nations that I have observed that would like fight with people online over their traditional food. That's Malaysian, Indian, and Italian.
Alright.
Like do not call it this when it's something else. It's only because food is part of their culture. They have a food culture, but food is also part of their culture. It's just like us. Like how we converse, we can just go into the Grab like, hi uncle, how the makan? You don't know the driver, the Uber driver, Grab driver, but you're asking them if they've had lunch.
Yeah.
Because that's just how you communicate, because food is part of our culture. So that's why I find it sort of humorous. Like I wouldn't be very angry. I'm like, okay, that's not very smart, but it's also a little bit funny.
Which is a good trait of us Malaysians.
Yes, but just make sure that you educate yourself before you fight people unnecessarily. That's an important side note.
Yeah. I will go back and say this, that at the end of the day, the trigger is the fact that, number one, you don't look traditional.
Yeah.
I think people should stop it because, like, if I was doing it, no, I've done things that are not traditional.
Yeah.
But they don't attack me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they go like, oh, this Chinese boy trying to discover the Malay industry right now. So I think people should just eat the food, okay?
Yeah.
Stop But yeah.
To be honest, I really I used to care, but I'm at a point where
I'm sorry, we're the same age, okay? So we're too old for this, like.
No, but also I think my perspective in general, on life, it's just shifted, slightly. Like before this, it's always like you work hard. I don't expect credit from it, or I don't expect people to just only write good comments. I don't. But you do feel some sort of resentment when you work so hard and all of a sudden you're being criticized over something that you didn't do, or because people have a different opinion on things. But now I tell myself I expect nothing more, nothing in return. I don't expect thank you, because I find that when I shifted the way I think, it's good for me, because I really don't expect anything in this world. I don't expect jobs to come from it. I don't expect people to say thank you. I don't expect people to praise me for it. Like if they say thank you, I'm happy, and but I no longer expect anything. And I think I did that for myself. Yeah.
Good for you. I will go out and say that I think I would like to invite you if you are open to it for the next season. Because I think we are just touching the surface, and I think I am also guilty, like all the other people out there, of having a certain perception of you. And I mean, I will admit that, like, you present a image that I was, oh my God, I didn't know this much about you. And I'm so glad that I took this opportunity to sit down and talk to you, because there's so much layers to Honest Nabilah that I think people don't see out there. Your fight for tradition and your importance that you put on tradition is something that I truly believe in. And I did not know that she had this in her. And yeah, so please come back. I will invite you again. But we have come to this part of the show, which I like to spice things up and go around the world with 3 different sambals.
Okay.
One is made by me. One is made by one of the most famous nasi lemak chain in Malaysia. And one is made by one of the very popular influencer.
Okay.
And then it's just a fun thing, and
Okay.
you just pick the one that you like.
Okay.
So there's 3 sambals here,
Yeah.
and you're gonna taste it together, and you tell me which is your favorite and what do you think of.
I know this is not sambal tumis lah.
Yeah, that is to me sambal lado. Okay,
Like
so
water,
let's
right?
taste one by one.
Okay. So this is the first one.
This is the first one. What does the first one taste like?
Good. I know what sambal is.
Oh, now I'm confused. Which
Good.
is mine?
A bit pedas,
Oh, that was really pedas, right?
but sweet also. That's good.
No, I think can do a bit of salt, but that's just me. This is Indonesian sambal.
There is no Malaysian sambal.
This is very spicy. It's good, but it's very spicy. And that's Indonesian sambal.
And the last one.
And the last one,
I'm really confused now. Because one tastes like mine. But doesn't look like mine.
very nice, not that spicy. Actually, I like them all. But this is not sambal tumis lah. These 2 are very similar. I think this one tastes like the chili is more mati than this one.
Oh,
It is.
cooked through more. So you prefer this one now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm making a face, but like if you want to find out which sambal Anis Nabilah chose, please check out our video on YouTube. The link is in the description. With that, I'm not going to tell you which one smart. But with that, we've come to the end. Thank you so much. I think this experience has been eye-opening for me. Yeah, please come back for the next season if there's some
Exactly.
I'm just doing this for my own. Like I don't know even know how to define what is a season. But yeah, I think there's so much more that we can talk about. And you're gonna be calm. You gotta calm yourselves down, okay? Like stop attacking this woman, okay? Like you know what she's doing. And yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. And of course, don't forget to check out her Instagram, which is
Anis_Nabilah.
I think we've come to the end, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Before we end the show, as usual, I would invite everybody to keep their plates adventurous and their hearts open. My name is Abang Brian, and this has been The Hungry Nick.
Terima kasih and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of The Hungry Immigrant. It's been a delightful feast of stories and flavors that remind us just how much food brings us together. Now don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. And if you loved today's culinary journey, leave us a review and share the episode with your friends and family. Your support helps keep our traditions alive and our tables more diverse. Do follow us on Instagram at Hungry Immigrant and my personal account Abang Brian for behind the scenes looks and extra tidbits from each episode. We love to see how food inspires you, so do tag us in your next food adventure. I'm Abang Brian, reminding you to savor every bite and cherish every moment at the table. Until next time, keep your plates adventurous and your hearts open.